For 20 years, you've trusted us to reinvent the standard in sports nutrition products. We don't plan on stopping, just like you.
Everyone knows this is going on, and no one really says anything. They're like, it's just like an unsaid thing. Like, like you got to be friends, and you got to go do a show over there, show love to that judge, and then go do a show, and then then they got you, and it's like, shouldn't it just be like you're the best and you win? But that's the thing. That's what I tell everyone. I want to make this so clear. People will always love you, and people will always hate you, and you just keep being yourself, and you get more people who love you and more people who hate you.
So you told me in 2011, 2012, right? That's when you competed and you stopped competing and you made that plan for the next few years, right? You created a vision.
Yeah, I mean, I always kind of had a vision, but like I didn't really know what direction to go in.
So now, did that vision come true? Is it still like? What is your vision back then, and what's your vision now? How would you?
It's so weird because like back then it was just like, oh, I want to be really strong and big. Like that's what it was.
That was a vision.
Yeah, that's all I focused on. Right. And then like I started doing stuff that like, oh, that's really cool, you could do that. And I was like, I just do this. Like I jumped on I jump higher, jump out of a pool because somebody was like, no, did you see BJ Penn jumped out of a hot tub? And I was like, that's easy. I'll jump out of my pool in my apartment building. So then I did that and it went viral. But it was like, I always did weird things that people were like, oh, you shouldn't do that. And I was like, oh, if you think I shouldn't do it, I'm for sure gonna try. So that was always like kind of my mentality. And then it got me like viral, got me more popular. But it was never really a plan. It was like, I'm just doing this. And then, now it's more like, how can I, like I said earlier, connect more with people than just that? Because that's important. But like, in doing those videos, still things like I still have plans for certain ones, things I'm going to redo or things I'm going to do differently. But it's still like now the main focus is like, how can I connect more? And that's all I really focus on now. Because that's how I've noticed that once I started doing that, like a few years ago, everything really changed for me. Like when I started YouTube and I started long format videos and talking, that's when everything changed for me. Everything else was cool prior to that. Like you're popular, you're this, you got followers, whatever. But when I did the long format videos on YouTube and I started talking about like my real life experiences, it's almost like that's what people wanted more of. Like it's cool, you're a Jack guy, that's awesome. But like like I said, at some point, who really fucking cares? Like you have to have the human connection. Otherwise, there's another Jack guy, there's another strong guy, like I said earlier, there's another one. So what makes you someone that people keep looking at is how you affect them. And that's all I focus on now. And that's why I say people lose that, because they go to these expos and they treat everyone like they're just a number, get on, get out, and like those people are there because they love you. Like they love something of you. You mean something to them, otherwise they wouldn't wait in line. And that's why I made the video that we talked about earlier and I felt like I wanted to teach people something, but like it's always not my job to teach someone like how to be or how to act in this industry. I need to just be that for myself. And if people see it and it's successful, then, be like, I should do that too, maybe.
How do you deal with negativity? I'm sure you have people that say something in comments. Do you delete them? Do you ignore it?
In the beginning, I used to try and delete it, but I got to the point where like, my favorite thing is this. People will DM me and be like, oh, fuck you, piece of shit. And I'm like, first of all, I'm like, this is weird. And then I'll DM them back and be like, hey man, I really appreciate the support. And that same person will be like, oh, I didn't mean to send it to you. Or, oh, I was trying to get your attention. I love you, bro. I swear to God. The nastiest messages, I'll always be like, I really appreciate the love. No matter what they say, you mother, I'll be like, I really appreciate the love. And they just switch. It's like, how can you get mad at that? A lot of times, like people just want attention. That's a lot of hate. And this is the biggest thing about hate, and I hope people listen to this, is like, hate is something that is like, it lives in your head. It doesn't live in mine. You know what I'm saying? Meaning like if you're the guy saying, fuck you to that guy, that thought, those words came out of your mind. You generated that negativity. And it's in your mind. You just said some words. It takes the other person, so the other person could take it and be like, that's affecting me. I'm gonna let it affect me. But that person could also decide like, that doesn't mean anything. So who does that only affect? If that person went, and dodged it, it only affects the person who said it. And I think negativity is like on the internet it's just one of the worst things. But it's common because people, they got a screen. So it's like, I can say whatever I want, and that's fine.
If somebody makes a negative video about you, let's say, talking like shit about you, right? Do you
Yeah.
ever pay, do you ever like, does it ever get to you? Do you ever like look around, like, does any of the negativity get to you?
Like what I've really realized over like the last 8 years is that no matter what you do, as long as it comes from your heart, you'll always be successful because of this. And I'm not saying this to sound corny. So many people go like this, they say the same thing to me. Like people who want to like do the internet, do social media, do YouTube, they go, oh man, I want to do what you're doing. I think it's amazing, but it's so saturated. So many people doing it, right? The competition. Right. But the reality is there is only one of you, and there's only one of him, and there's only one of him, and there's only one of me. And if you can connect with what matters to you and why what you're doing matters to you, beyond just because everyone goes like this, they say, oh, why do you want to do this? Oh, because I want to inspire people. Well, why do you want to inspire people? Because it's good. This is most people's narrative, right? And I talked to a kid a few nights ago, actually. And I talked to him, and he said, well, because I want to. And I said, well, why do you want to? Because it's the right thing to do. Well, why is it the right thing to do? And I told him this. I said, ask me why I do what I do. Ask me why I do what I do. I do what I do because I grew up without a father. My father took his life when I was 6 years old, and my whole life I wanted to have something I didn't have. So as I got older, I noticed that people came into my life who were father figures to me, weightlifting partners, people who meant so much to me, came in and they helped shape me. They helped make me who I am, right? So as I got older, I noticed I started to be able to have that effect on people. And they say thank you, they say this. And I noticed that giving that was what made me truly happy. Not money, not success, not being the man, not having followers, none of that's what made me happy. Like, at one point, when I was naive to it, I thought that would make me happy. Before I had it, I was like, that's gonna make me happy. And then as I progressed, I realized it's not what made me happy. So why I do what I do is because I know what it felt like to not feel good enough, to not feel like, well, why wouldn't my father stay? Because why would he take his life? Because I'm here, right? Am I not good enough? Am I, like, what's wrong with me? And I made it about myself. And I realized, like, that's why I do what I do. Because I want to be able to give something to someone that I felt like I didn't have when I grew up. And if I can give some sort of motivation or some sort of help, because I had that from other people throughout my life. You see what I'm saying? So I had other weightlifting partners who made me feel good about what I was doing. And I wanted to give that because I know how much it meant to me. So that's it, man. And when I talked to this kid, I told him that. I said, this is why I do what I do. Why do you want to do what you do now? And he said, okay, I'll tell you. Right? But there was this barrier of like, it was just this, it's just superficial, sounds good, I'm going to say what sounds good. But I think everyone has a deeper reason why they do what they do. They got to dig. You got to dig deeper than just the surface level. So he dug and he told me some personal things basically about his life and his past. And he was basically in the army and he got out and he thought it was going to be something that it didn't, and he felt very bad about himself. So that's his why. But a lot of people get stuck at, oh, I want to inspire people. Because it's cool. Well, why? Why? The minute that you can connect, I think someone can connect with that why, you'll be successful. And it just takes time and it takes effort after that. But you have to figure out what that is. And I just figured out what that was at an early age. Because I remember thinking at an early age, what am I going to do with my life? Because I see that life can end. My father took his life, obviously. Before that, I'm like, I get a scratch, it's okay. It goes away, right? But when your mom says, this is happening, this is not changing, you're like, oh, well, I can't hug, I can't say goodbye, I can't. So it's one of those things.
Do you think some people might perceive you as, or have a misconception about you in the industry as being this businessman who is, obviously building a fitness empire? You know what I'm saying? Do you think that's how you perceive in the industry?
I think, yeah. I mean, growing up, I've always kind of been like a loner. Like I had friends, but I was always like, in my time, I was always like alone. It was because honestly, I'll tell you the truth, man. I had always been afraid to involve other people in what I was doing because I felt like I would lose that person. Like it's a fear thing. Fuck, I'm really not trying to get emotional.
All good, all good.
So it's a fear thing of I don't want to lose something that I think is good. So I would tend to just start to just do things by myself. I would try and do everything by myself and do it all because I felt if I involved someone else and then it could be good, I could lose that person. And I'm afraid of that. I became afraid of that because of what happened with my father. So that's what I'm saying. Everything goes way deeper. For most people in the world, it goes so much deeper than what's happening now. It's like where they grew up, what shoes they walked in. And I would always kind of like try to protect myself. Even in my personal relationships, I would try to protect myself. Like I would try and be like, I could be 1 foot out and 1 foot in because I didn't want to get hurt. And that's all it was, is fear. So in the industry, I can say without a doubt, I've tried to not necessarily distant myself, because I work with tons of people in the industry, but I definitely have tried to do everything on my own as much as I can. And I've learned like, it's what works for me. And then sometimes I learned that like, some people might be like, oh, this guy, whatever, right? But I have no ill intentions for anybody or for anything or anyone else in this industry. I just want good for myself and the people around me and the people who support me and the people that like I support. I want good. I want good for people. So I can definitely say, for sure, there's been moments in this industry where people, I think, viewed me in a way that was maybe not good. But I think a lot of times people don't necessarily know the full story. And they'll kind of just, they'll jump on one side and be like, oh, this is it, this is that, without really getting to know me. Like, this is the first time I've ever met you.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll be honest with you. You come off, you know, in your social media is super confident. A super confident guy who knows what he's doing and just, you know, is basically a fitness mogul, you know, currently.
That's funny, man.
So,
I'm just a dude. I just work out.
I know.
Yeah.
But you come off as, okay, you come off as very good in communication. You know, you have a lot of friends and you know what you're doing. You know, you don't come off as somebody who's, you know, not sure about himself and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? But you made a post, actually, I think it was a few months ago. It was you in the hospital, and you talk about you had an anxiety attack, and you kind of open up. That was very like I guess an emotional post for you to make. You know, when you made that post, you know, how did you feel afterwards? Did you feel like it was the right decision, not the right decision? I mean, how did you feel about it?
Oh man,
because you went through something right at the time.
Oh yeah. Fuck, you asking those hard questions.
I don't mean to go there because you brought it up. That's why.
It's okay. So anxiety is something I struggled with for a long time, a lot of my life. More so as I've gotten older and I have more things and more people who depend on me to like be me, to be the guy.
Responsibility. Right?
Yeah, because fuck, damn, there's some like therapy questions.
I don't mean to go there because
no, it's okay. Genuinely, man. So there's just, I guess, at one point in my life, like I said, I'm just the guy who works out, and I've always just kind of like shared my feelings with people who are close to me. And then I got on the internet and became like, oh, the guy who does the crazy stuff and the viral stuff, and it's cool. And then I share my feelings, and then people really get behind me. And then I built all this stuff, and then I have, you know, best friends of mine who, the guy that used to be my manager, Brandon, he's my best friend of 10 years, someone who like, I lived on his floor before I had anything, and he took care of me. So now I'm in a place in my life where my best friends in my life for the last 10 years, my gym manager, general manager is one of my best friends of the last 10 years. The closest people to me are part of my business now, and like their livelihood. My friend I just went to his baby shower yesterday, and he's having a kid, and like all these things, like I'm talking from sleeping on his floor to like he's having a kid, and now I feel I have a personal like I need to make sure he's good because he made sure I was good, and so there's definitely more pressures in my life, and as I've gotten older, I never really took time to treat the mental, because everything's so physical. Bodybuilding's physical, everything's out exterior, but like I think a lot of people forget to look inside at like someone's mental health. And I had dealt with anxiety for a long time, and I kind of just like, oh, I'm okay, and I never really talked about it with people. And just recently I started going to therapy to like condense my thoughts, condense like my worries, my stresses, and I never did that prior. So I made a post about anxiety. And it's funny because I had been to the ER many times in my life. I just never posted about it. And I did it because I was just like, fuck it. What I've realized in this industry, what I've realized in social media, the biggest thing that's missing is real connection. And it's ironic because everyone's so connected. It's all, we're here, everything's here, everything. But it's all like, you do something, you put it away, it's like there's no connection. And what I noticed, the thing that I could say, like, if you talk about success or being the guy, the thing that I've always done from like day one, and I've always tried my hardest to be good at, is talk to people, through messages, through as much as I could engage with someone, and try and say whatever I could. Because people send me you posted this video, you helped change my life. I didn't kill myself because you did this, you did. And I'll try and give as much as I can because I know how shitty it feels to be in a dark situation like that. So I'll respond as much as I can. And what I realize is like, over the course of social media in the last like five years, it's just like, it's everyone's highlight reel. It's everyone's best shot. And I've done it as well. I get my best shots. I got my best pump. I got the best light. I got the best angle. And it's everyone's just perfect life. And that's not real life. And that's not my real life. Like it hasn't been. Sorry guys.
No.
Yeah, and I think people get so carried away with like being ironically strong and like trying to show a thing and show like, oh, everything in my life is good, but that's not real. So for me, I did that just to be like, no, my life's not perfect. Like my life's not like the fairy tale. Like I do live a dream life, absolutely. But like everyone goes through things, and I think it's comfortable to see that if someone you look at on the internet and they say their life looks perfect, but they'll show you that they're a real human, is what's essential. Because like I said, people have lost connection. It's like, because we're so connected, we lost connection. So I've done my best to try and like connect, and I think that's what's made me successful. Is I've only talked about like, you know, on YouTube, I've done videos that are just about, it has nothing to do with fitness, it just has to do with like life and things that I've been through in my life, and I share those with the people who support me. And that's all I've done. And that's how you say like, oh, you're the man, the numbers, of this and that, but like it's through doing that for years.
Absolutely.
And spending the time on the messages and spending the time on responding to people and going to expos and talking to people and giving them time. Because like, they're giving me time. Like one of the things I've noticed, I go to expos and everyone says the same, they're like, wow, it seems like you actually care. And in my mind, I'm like, well, that's weird. You think everyone would. Because like I said earlier, popularity for people in the social, in the fitness industry is social. It's all social media. So if it's social and you have these numbers, people just think followers, but those followers are people. And people tend to forget that these followers are people.
Actual individuals, right?
Yeah, it's not just a number that you get and it's cool and you look cool. It's a person that is like, I vote, I like this. And so if you connect with those people, they'll always be there to support you. And that's what I realized through thick and thin, through bullshit, through whatever, those people are still there supporting me because I give myself, my real self to them. And Instagram is, I would say Instagram is a little less of that because you don't have as much of an opportunity. Like you can't have a 15-minute long video where you talk about life and trials and things that I've been through personally to my audience. But on Instagram, it's more like quick, right? But I do as much as I can on YouTube to like just talk. Like just most of the videos we shoot, there's no cuts, there's no edits, there's no pieces of paper, it's just this. Like I said before we started filming, I was like, oh, don't ask me the questions because I want it to just be from the heart.
You're raw, yeah.
So, but yeah, man, anxiety's real. And I for a long time, I used to be like, oh no, that's I'm just going through something. That's not real. And then it just got to a point where like, it became physical for me, where I was like, I feel like, whoa, what's wrong with me? I'm getting sweats. I'm like, my skin's going white. Like and that's when I really like had to say, okay, I need to get help for this. And I started to get help for it. It's helped me a lot, man. Like just organize. Like I was telling you guys earlier, I'm very like
Absolutely,
this, but there's all this stuff that's like looming, and I'm like, so it's helped me organize my life.
Do you think like people find it to be boring, pretty much? Like,
Do people what?
Find it boring, like they're not engaging. You know?
I mean, I guess it depends on the person. But then it's just like, I guess some people are just more like extroverted, you know? And that's just a person thing. Like, sure, I think some bodybuilders could be more, but if they're not that as a person, like I've always,
they can't make themselves.
Yeah, if you're not that as a person, don't force it. Be who you are. That's all I'm trying to say. And that's the most important thing about this whole interview. To be successful, you got to be who you are. And if that's not who he is, fine. If he's the pinnacle guy, because he is, be that guy. It's fine. He's still successful. But it's like, yeah, you don't want to fake it. And I wouldn't expect any of them to fake it. Like if it was not really, because I'll be honest, when I first started all this shit in the beginning, I didn't have it as much. Like I could always be off a camera and talk, be good. The minute I got a camera, I was like, oh shit.
You thinking about what you're gonna say?
There's a camera. Yeah, and at the beginning of my YouTube videos, you can go check the beginning of my YouTube videos. And then you get to a point where you're just like, fuck it. People want you to say fuck it. Because people want to say fuck it. If you say fuck it, this is who I am, look at me. That's what people want to do. People want to do the same thing. So if you show someone, hey, I'm doing it, fuck it, don't care. They would be like, I want to do that too. I want to say fuck it too. And that's powerful. That's what creates, people giving a fuck because they're like, I want that. I want to say fuck it, because a lot of people feel like they can't say fuck it because they're tied to this or they're tied to that. So being able to just say like, this is me. And that's all I've done, man. Like I'm not some like the guy, what the fuck, I'm the fucking guy. I'm a fucking guy who works out and that's it. I film videos and then I talk about how I feel. No cuts, no edits, man. You guys sat here the whole time. This is who the fuck I am. There's no jokes. Sometimes I try to make jokes.
Yeah, great interview, man.
Honestly, fantastic. Thank you.